coming out. My name is Kathryn Furey, and I'm one of the 10 counselors at West Orange High School. Miss Madelin Fernandez-Perez is another counselor that will be joining me this evening during this presentation. The purpose of this presentation is kind of to give an oversight of post-secondary planning. And that's going to look different for every student and family as we move forward from junior to senior year. This presentation is primarily focused towards our junior parents and students, but if you are here and your child is a freshman or sophomore, it is always good to get this information early on so you could start thinking and planning ahead moving forward. I am going to start my presentation soon, and as Ms. Lauren said, any questions you may have throughout the presentation can be typed in the Q&A. I would also advise, if you have any specific questions in regards to your child's individual planning, that you reach out to their school counselor to set up an appointment moving forward to discuss more individualized plans. This is kind of going to give you an umbrella and an overview of what you really need to be focusing on now, and then being prepared to come back for senior year. So let's begin. So with the junior year planning, we should share with you, probably not all of your children came home and told you that the school counselors in the first 2 weeks of December met with all junior students in small group meetings. These small group meetings discussed everything that we are going to present tonight, in addition to providing your child with a copy of their most recent transcript, which includes their GPA. And also we provided them with the course selection sheet and the program of studies, because in the next few weeks, we will meet with your child again individually to pick their courses for next year. Colleges will see your child's senior year courses. So it is advised that they still take a rigorous amount of academic classes. I know students will say, well, I'm done with most of my graduation requirements. And that is true. Majority will only need their 4th year of English and their 4th year of PE to graduate. However, if they are planning on applying to colleges, they are going to want to continue taking an academic rigor that will be shared with the colleges that they decide to apply to. In this presentation, we have a link to the information that was discussed and provided to your child. This was a junior timetable checklist that kind of laid out to them step by step what they should be doing and what they should be looking forward moving ahead. So this document is attached to this presentation with all links for you to review. In addition, like I said, we did provide them also with the course selection sheet of all of the courses that will be available next year to them as a senior. So we asked them to review those courses and to have some idea prior to us meeting with them over the next few weeks of what their course schedule will look like. So the junior year focus is primarily what we have listed here on this slide, and this is what I'm going to focus on this evening. I will take you through a little bit of each of these topics and kind of explain the importance of why we need to keep these in our focus this current school year. The first is most important, and that's going to keep our grades up. As we explained to your child when we met with them, this is the last year they have to strengthen their transcript and GPA. And what that means is that at the end of this year, and I'm going to show you what a current transcript looks like, we finalize your child's school record. And this is the most important piece of paper that will follow them to whatever plan they are going to have after they leave us. If you see in this transcript, what we provide to any post-secondary options is just final grades. So your child doesn't have to worry about, oh, I got a poor grade in marking period 1, or, you know, in sophomore year during this class, I didn't do well for marking period 2. They are only seeing your final grades. So as you see, this particular student has their freshman year final grades,
Ms. Furey,
sophomore.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
We were only using the tab one, so we don't have this shared up on our screen right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay then. Okay, perfect. So as I was explaining, you will see the individual students' 9th grade final marks, 10th grade final marks, and 11th grade final marks, the credits they receive for each of those classes, and the individual GPA that they received every year of high school. At the end of this year, we recalculate all 3 years of high school, and that is how a student receives their cumulative GPA that will be reported to the colleges. So let me say that again, because that's very important. At the end of this year, we will recalculate all of your child's individual grades on their transcript, and they will get a cumulative GPA. That cumulative GPA at the end of this year is what is shared with the colleges. That GPA is also used to distinguish where your child falls within their graduating class. Although West Orange does not rank students per se, so they don't say, oh, you're number 2 in the class, you're number 10 in the class, you're number 100 in the class. We do provide colleges with the decile. So we provide them, are you in the top 10%? Are you in the top 40%? And so forth. And this GPA at the end of this year is what's used to distinguish that. The good thing about meeting with students when we did a few weeks ago is we really stressed that colleges look for academic growth. If a child felt that they didn't reach their full potential in 9th grade or 10th grade, but they're doing very well and they're continuing to improve, colleges like to see that those areas of improvement. And by us meeting with them pretty much, you know, at the end of first marking period, we explained to those students that they still have all of this year to make an improvement on their grades and their GPA. So this was shared with them. This is what a transcript looks like, and this is what colleges will receive when they review your child's academic records. This information that I just spoke about is all on this slide, and there will be links shared out tomorrow that will provide you with that information. So now we talk a little bit about college admissions testing, and probably most of you are aware that many colleges since the pandemic have gone test optional and continue to do so up until today. Many parents and students will ask, should I take the SAT and/or ACT if many of my schools are test optional? And that is a choice that you and your child are going to make as a family. My advice would be that you should take some type of standardized test in the spring of your junior year, whether that be the SAT and/or ACT. Although a lot of colleges are test optional, there are particular programs and particular schools that still require testing as part of their admissions process. So I think it's best to err on the side of caution and have at least one seating for either or both of these exams. Colleges will take one test in lieu of another. So, you know, in the next slide, it will go over those testing dates for this upcoming spring. We also included on this slide, there is a list of all schools that are test optional, and that's for you to reference. If your child receives free or reduced lunch, they are able to take the SAT and the ACT 2 times for free. They have to be approved for free or reduced lunch for this academic school year. And on this slide, we provide you with the links on how to go about receiving those fee waivers if you do in fact receive free or reduced lunch. Many of our juniors took the PSAT this October. As many of you are aware, the SAT is going digital as of their next testing administration in March. So the PSAT that was available for juniors to take in October will mirror the new SAT that will be given in March. So students that took the PSAT, it's a practice before they take the SAT. And we do have links here to understand your PSAT results that were sent directly from College Board to your individual child sometime in November. We also provide links to have some type of practice if your child is planning to take the SAT this spring. SAT test dates. So your child is responsible for registering to take the SAT. We are offering the SAT here at West Orange High School on March 9th and June 1st. There is also an exam being given on May 4th. However, it will be in surrounding areas such as Seton Hall or Montclair, Livingston, but it will not be offered at West Orange High School. So these are the dates for this upcoming spring to take the SAT with the link on how to register. We also have provided the ACT test dates, and again, have put a little star next to the dates that we are offering them here at West Orange High School. Again, we're offering them here in February and June. There is an April and July date also available. Many parents and students will ask, well, is it better to take one in lieu of the other? And it is not. It is just a different type of exam. Some students do better on the SAT, some prefer the ACT, and any college will take one in lieu of the other. So sometimes, you know, my daughter's a junior in high school now. My advice to her was that she took both the ACT and SAT. She felt more comfortable and she did better on the SAT, and that is what test she has decided to focus on. So again, it's up to the individual student, you know, but you could go on to either of these websites for registration, and there are different practice questions available for your child to see. Accommodations. So if you are a child that has an IEP or a 504 plan, there are different ways to apply for accommodations before taking the exam. Just because you have a 504 or an IEP, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have extended time or other type of accommodations that you might receive currently in your school plan. You need to go ahead and apply for those accommodations. We do have the links here that give you that information, but you can always feel free to reach out to your school counselor or to your child's case manager for assistance with this process. In addition to standardized testing this spring, there is a mandatory test, New Jersey State test, that your child must take in junior year. It is the NJGPA, and it is a statewide test that all students need to take to be eligible to graduate. Like this slide says, there is no exception to this test. There's no opting out. You must sit and take this exam, and those exams will be given in ELA and in math, and they will be on March 11th through March 15th. We also have links to some of those practice tests on this slide. Before we get into the actual post planning part of what are the next steps to help you kind of plan out what you're going to do after high school, we did discuss with your child when we met with them is that they should really be keeping on top of their activities resume in Naviance. The activities resume in Naviance compiles all of your child's outside activities that they have done, both within school and outside of school. And this could be an array of things. This can be athletics. This could be clubs. This could be choir, musical productions they've been a part of. But it also could include employment. It can include summer programs that they participated in. It's really a way to market themselves to the schools of that makes them well-rounded. What have they done that they have been involved in, that they have been passionate about, that has made them and shaped them into who they are, what they're interested in. And we ask that all students, prior to at least finishing up their junior year, have an updated resume in Naviance. It is a very simple it's a very simple task to complete. It's very user-friendly. And we showed the students how to go about adding activities into their resume. And what's nice about it is once they add those activities in there, they can actually download a PDF of a sample resume. So to kind of give you an example, once a student puts these activities into Naviance, they can specify it as much as they want in terms of the information they provide, but this is what will be developed. So again, these are just a few examples on how they could put in different activities that they've participated in, any awards, extracurriculars, clubs. So again, this is something that we ask for students to continuously work on throughout high school. But if they have not been keeping it up to date, that we ask them to go and do that prior to the end of this school year. So now we're going to get into the post-secondary planning. Every child's plan after high school is going to look different. It's going to be individualized. It's going to be based on what their plan is for them. There are many options. So we have students that go on to four-year colleges. We have students that start at two-year community colleges. We have students that go more into the trades, more hands-on training, apprenticeship programs, HVAC, electrician. We have students that will continue on to the military, whether that means that they go on to a military academy school in college, or they join the military straight out of high school. And then we do have students that go into the world of work. Any plan, no plan is better than another. But the one thing that we don't want your child to do is come out of high school and it be June of their senior year and they don't have a plan moving forward. So when we meet with our students, we like to ask them kind of what they're thinking about doing. And I would open that conversation for you to have as a family at home, because I think it's really important for everyone in your family to be on the same page in regards to what your child's plan is going to be, whether that's going to be a four-year or two-year traditional college, a technical college, or any type of employment or military options that they are going to explore for themselves. We will go more into the four-year college process, but we do see, just for the fact that college has become very expensive, we do have a lot of students that will start at the community college level and will transfer to any of the four-year universities in New Jersey. And there is something what's called New Jersey Transfer. So New Jersey Transfer is a program that guarantees that the classes you take at the community college level will transfer to a four-year school. So for example, you know that you would like to transfer to Rutgers University after you complete your associate's degree at the two-year college level at Essex County College. You would meet with your advisor. you would share with them that your long-term goal is to transfer to Rutgers. Through New Jersey Transfer, they would make sure that they are giving you those courses that would be transferable to those schools. Okay. On this slide, we also provide you with links to technical schools. Like I said, those are more trade schools: Lincoln Tech, Fortis Institute, Ho-Hocust, Eastwood College, which are more specific towards a vocational career-specific program. We also have a link here to the military academies and colleges as we move forward. So we're going to talk a little bit about the college process. It is very normal to feel very excited and also a little bit of stressed about this, especially if this is your first child going through the process. It can tend to feel overwhelming. And that's why the purpose of this evening is really just to focus on what needs to be done now, what we need to focus on to best prepare coming back in September when you're actually going to submit your applications to the schools. We ask that you start early. You know, like we said, you can't control the outcome. College admissions has become, you know, it's not something that's so black and white in regards to decisions that are made, but you can control the process. And the process is that it's really important that you start early, you start now, and that you work together as a family. You know, I have a junior in high school myself. You know, we had a conversation the other day. She mentioned about going to a school out in Texas. That is not something my husband and I are thinking about sending her that far. So it's really important that you have those conversations at home and that you discuss openly about the finances of schools. Schools are expensive. You know, the private institutions, schools out of state, we're looking at somewhere, some of them $70,000 to $80,000 a year. Whereas, you know, you can go to a public university within the state of New Jersey at a much affordable rate. So these are types of, this is the type of information that you have to start gathering as a family now. So many families will ask, well, where do we even begin? The first step is to really start researching schools, and how you can go about that is you can go onto any school's website. There are many colleges that have information sessions, and the information sessions can be specific to your child's interested major, their school that they might be interested in applying to within that university. Registration is usually required. So we encourage you to go to those specific schools' websites to check for this information. I think the most important step in the process is if you can go and visit some schools. Many schools do have open houses and informations in the springtime. I will share with you from my own experience, these information sessions are typically on Fridays or Mondays. So if you are planning a visit, we do allow students to miss 5 non-chargeable days in their junior year and 5 non-chargeable days in their senior year to go visit these schools. We do have a link to the open house schedule for most of the schools in New Jersey and the Mid-Atlantic region, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, in this particular slide. However, what I recommend is that once you do have some idea of schools in mind that you might be interested in exploring, that you go to that individual school's website to see their options for college visits and information sessions. So research resources, where do we begin? When we met with students in December in our small group meetings, we showed them in Naviance how they can do a college search. So what we showed your child, when you log into Naviance, you can go to the college tab at the top, and you can go to advanced college search. In this section, you can answer questions specifically to what you are interested in regards to looking for higher education. So you can put in, are you looking for a school depending on location, depending on how many students go there, what their admissions criteria is. Do they accept how difficult, how competitive it is to get into that particular school? You can also choose the major that perhaps you might be interested in. The cost of the school. If you are looking to play a sport at that school and you want to see schools that might offer Division I soccer, and you can put in all of this criteria and they will spit out a list of schools based on the information you provided. So if you were just going quickly and I just wanted to click and I said, I'm looking at schools in the Mid-Atlantic area, the entire region, I'm going to be looking at schools that accept 50 to 75% of their applications, and I'm looking to study by education. I could scroll down and click view matches, and they will provide me with every school within that criteria that meets that match. You could click on the school and it will provide you with more information in regards to that particular school. So you could see the average price, the graduation rate, the acceptance rate, majors that that school has to offer, student life, the cost. And if this is a school that your child's interested, they could click on this little heart and this school will be added into their list of colleges I'm thinking about. And so just to show you just a few of the schools that I worked with my juniors when we were kind of showing them how to go about doing a college search. That information will stay on your colleges you're thinking about, and you can look to see, you know, put it as a high interest, low interest, but it's a way to start building your college list for schools to consider. So that's one of the features you can use to start the college search. Or there's also a one on College Board called College Board Big Future. It kind of works the same way. There also is a program called College Data that provides college profiles, admission statistics, a money calculator that will include like the net price calculator for particular schools. So these are all research resources to begin developing your list of schools. We also have student college reps come to the high school throughout the school day. Any of these visits are listed in Naviance. Students must register prior to the day of the visit. And what happens is they go online, they can register, and on that day they will come down. It's usually in our library media center. They will be able to meet with the college representative, ask any questions. It's just a good way to contact, to make a face with a name at a particular school that they might be interested in. So those information sessions are listed in Naviance, so your child can sign up if there is a school that they are interested that is coming to visit West Orange High School. Again, when we're looking at factors for college, in addition to looking at majors or location or the size of a school, if you need any additional support on the college level, there is a range of support services that are offered, varied at every school. Every college has an office of support services, but it can vary in terms of the services that are available. Again, if this is something that is important for you to consider when you're doing your college research, I would advise you to speak to your child's school counselor or their case manager for any maybe suggestions if you are looking for particular comprehensive programs when it comes to additional support. Another factor consider is also if your child is planning to play a Division I or Division II sport on the college level, on the collegiate level, their first step is they would need to clear academically through the NCAA. So prior to your child leaving school here in June of their junior year, they should have already registered at the eligibility center. The eligibility center, once they complete that registration, they ask the school to provide them with documentation of their grades, such as what was shown on the transcript. And they use a list of schools to compile to see if they meet eligibility. Any student that is looking to play, again, Division I or Division II at the college level should begin this process if they have not done so yet. You can see the list of, if you click on the link, of the approved core courses that the NCAA does use when they are calculating if a student is going to be eligibly cleared to play at the collegiate level. So the college list is all about balance, and we ask this, we get asked this many times, the school counselors, how many is a reasonable amount of schools to apply to? I will say typically students apply to about 8 to 10 schools, and that's what we recommend. Again, some students, I find students maybe that are trying to apply to the more competitive Ivy League top tier schools might apply to more. But typically a good range of schools would be 8 to 10 schools. And all 8 to 10 schools should have a variety of the following 3 categories. So at least a minimum of 2 schools should fall within your safety range, meaning your grades and your test scores surpass these academic requirements at these particular schools. The target schools are that your test grades and your GPA fall within the middle 50% of accepted students. Majority of the schools that you apply to should fall within this category. And then we always tell students, feel free to have a reach school or a dream school where, you know, your GPA and test scores are a bit lower than the medium accepted students at this particular school, but that they want to give it a shot. They want to, you know, throw their name in the hat and see, you know, what happens. Again, there's no magic potion on who gets into particular schools and who does not. There's so much more than just your grades and transcript. It could be what you're planning on studying. It could be, you know, maybe you have a musical talent and they're looking for that talent at a particular school. So again, you know, we wish we had that magic wand to say if that school is going to be a definite yes or a definite no. All we could do is provide you with the information to do your research and to kind of see which schools fall within these 3 categories and to make sure that your child has a mix and range of schools when they go to actually apply. I find that the best way to find out where your child falls within, you know, these ranges is to go to that individual college's admission student profile, freshman student profile. So if you went to any school, say for example, Rowan University, and you typed freshman profile of 2023, they will tell you exactly the mid-range of students that were accepted to that school for that particular year. So I find that that information is very valuable when also looking to develop your list. So looking ahead, really, if your child can focus on keeping their grades up, finishing out their junior year strong, do their research and do some college visits and start developing their list of schools and think about their standardized testing, the rest will fall into place into the summertime and coming back into the fall of their senior year. Looking ahead, students will have to ask 2 teachers to write them a letter of recommendation. So a lot of times students will ask, well, can I get more than 2 teachers? And it's really not a good idea to. Colleges put limits on the amount of recommendations we are even able to send. So 2 is plenty. In addition to your teacher letters of recommendation, your school counselor will also write a letter of recommendation on your behalf. So you don't have to ask your school counselor, but we do ask prior to the end of junior year to verbally ask perhaps, those 2 teachers you're interested in. Mr. Evans, I'm going to be applying to school next year. Would you be willing to write a letter of recommendation on my behalf? Majority of the teachers will say, yes, I would love to. Please remind me in early September, or, they might ask them for additional information depending on how they go about their process of doing teacher recommendations. Looking ahead also, most students will use what's called the Common Application to apply to most of their colleges. This is one application that students can send to multiple schools. This application, in addition to other applications, will not become available until August 1st. However, we do recommend that your child starts working on the college essay, which is a prompt of, there's usually 7 prompts. They pick one. The minimum amount of words for the college essay is 650 words, so it's not long. Students actually have more of their difficulty is cutting down their essay to make it effective in such a short amount of words that is allotted. So to get a jump start on the college essay is really helpful, because that's the part of the essay that you want to really put time into. In addition, once the Common Application becomes available August 1st, many colleges do ask for supplemental questions. So that's going to be additional essay type questions in addition to the one essay that will be sent to all of the schools that the student is going to be applying to. We also see that a lot of schools, when you're looking at their applications, are using what's called an SRAR, and that's a self-reporting record, meaning they do not want any transcripts from the high school. So for example, Rutgers does not want any school documents from West Orange High School. They don't even want college letters of recommendation. All they want is the student's application to be complete and the student to self-report their grades on what's called the SRAR. We meet with students in small groups again in the beginning of their senior year. So within the second week of September, third week of September, we are meeting again with them to kind of go over all of these application pieces to make sure that they're on target with what they're responsible to complete and what's responsible of the school counseling office as it pertains to making sure we get their transcript out, we get their recommendations out in a timely manner to meet their application deadlines. I will say the more a student can get started over the summer, the less stressful they will be, especially if they are coming back and they play a fall sport or they have, a challenging senior year course load. The more they could do over the summer, the less pressure, the less stress they will feel when they come back in September when we have those senior meetings. Financial aid, we'll just touch upon it quickly, and I'll touch upon that in a few slides. So again, like I mentioned, the letters of recommendation, the only thing that we ask for students to do prior to the end of their junior year is to verbally ask those 2 teachers and to also complete a survey for letter of recommendation in Naviance. This survey is very, very important because this survey is what's used by the school counselor in addition to the teachers that they asked to write their letter to provide any information that they feel they would like us to touch upon in our letters. So we don't know everything that your child has been involved in, or any circumstances that they think might be important to kind of touch upon, this would be the opportunity for them to share that information with us. The school counselor will also provide a parent brag sheet. It's optional for a parent to provide any feedback that they think would be valuable to share with us as we write letters of recommendation moving forward. We ask that those tasks are complete prior to the end of this school year. Again, like I mentioned, we follow up with senior meetings where your child will then go in and put the formal request into Naviance for the teacher letters of recommendation. So we will touch upon that again in the fall. Like I said, the essay, personal statement on this slide, we have some links to, to get some useful maybe some suggestions, some ideas for writing your college essay. We do recommend that when your child comes back in September, if they have a draft that they have worked on, that they make an appointment with the West Orange High School Writing Center. The Writing Center is available after school, during lunch. They could bring their draft of their college essay. There are individual English teachers available that will help them, even if they need ideas to kind of get started, to brainstorm. We really have found that this has been a useful tool for students to take advantage of prior to submitting their applications. They want to make sure that someone is looking over and giving some, suggestions and looking at the grammar and so forth prior to pressing that button to submit their application. So this is where it becomes a little complicated. You probably have all heard of different admissions deadlines. And again, this is really up to the family and the student's decision on how they are going to apply. Across the top, we have regular decision, which means the student just applies by the regular college deadline. Typically it's in January, February, and they get a response sometime March if they've been accepted or not to the school. There's other schools that do rolling admission, which means like a school like University of Pittsburgh is rolling. Once they receive the student's application, they receive the school documents. It goes through the admission cycle. They make a decision. You get notified of that decision. Early action. This is also a non-binding admissions process where you can apply to as many schools early action. It typically means that your application will be due November 1st or November 15th. And you will get a response sometime around the holidays, whether or not you have been accepted. You can apply to as many schools that have that early action. There's no commitment to it. So you could get accepted to those schools and still have the decision till May 1st to make up your mind if you will attend that school or not. It's just meaning to get a head start, a jump start on getting your applications in early. The ones that do have a binding commitment to are your early decision. And early decision is you are committing to that school only, to apply under this binding contract, that if that school accepts you into that particular school, that you are going to go there, that you are going to withdraw all of your other applications and you are going to attend that school. Some students might ask, well, why would I apply early decision? Well, there are some students that are pretty confident that if they got in, not even pretty confident, 100% confident that if they got into that school, that they would go there. The downside to it is you're making it without seeing any type of merit money given, any type of financial aid. But students do seem to make the decision to do early decision if it's an Ivy League or a top tier school, because many of those schools, it is easier, a higher acceptance rate to get in under early decision than it is under the regular decision pool. So again, it's just something to be aware of when you're looking and researching schools. You know, sometimes a school might accept, like UPenn, 40% of their early decision students into their school, where they might only accept 7% going in as a regular decision. So again, when you're looking at applications, just be mindful of the different admission deadline processes, because they vary from school to school. Like I mentioned, the common application is what will be used by probably 95% of students, and they will apply using this one application. There's over 800 schools that, yes, that accept this application. Again, it becomes available August 1st. And if the school that you are applying to does use the Common App, we highly encourage you to do so. In the fall, we do have 2 financial aid workshops. Financial aid has changed for this year in terms of the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the online application that is from the federal government that distinguishes if your family qualifies for any type of need-based money. Up until this year, it was always available to families as of October 1st. This year, they revised the FAFSA, and it was supposed to be open December 1st. Then it got pushed back to December 31st. It is now available. There are some, little difficulties that they're kind of trying to work out at this point. But the FAFSA is what's going to drive how much money, if any, your family would qualify for need-based money. And that typically comes through what's called a grant. So a grant, when you see that after applying for financial aid, is money that you do not have to pay back. In addition to the FAFSA, if your child is applying to schools in New Jersey, if they qualify for money through the federal government, they typically will qualify for some type of money through New Jersey State. And that can be additional money through what's called the TAG grant to help pay for school. So those 2 are the big applications for need-based money. We also have on this slide, there are different programs throughout New Jersey that students can explore. So for example, the New Jersey STAR program, if your child falls within the top 15% of their class, they can go to a community college in their county free of cost for 2 years. And depending on how they do, if they keep their grades at a certain GPA, they can continue on to a 4-year university free of cost through that program. We also have links here to what's called the Educational Opportunity Fund. That's a program within the state of New Jersey at all colleges that students can get additional financial resource, but also can get additional educational resources through this program. There is a minimum financial requirement, household income requirement that you need to meet to apply for that program, but we do have the link with that information on here as well. And we do have the New Jersey Dreamers for our undocumented students that provides them with the information of the the financial assistance that would be helpful for them and what they could qualify for being a resident in New Jersey and attending a school in New Jersey. Again, the financial aid piece is not something that could be started until, like I said, next December of your child's senior year. And we do have 2 financial aid workshops that help you through the process. The next thing, just to kind of touch upon, some schools do also, in addition to the FAFSA, will request what's called the CSS profile. It's another financial document that is provided through the College Board that some 400 or more colleges do require students to complete prior to getting any type of financial aid or to be accepted to a scholarship program within the school. So just to let you know that that is something, if you do see that that school does require, that is an additional document to the FAFSA that families would need to complete. And then scholarships. So a lot of students and parents will ask about scholarships. I will say that majority of the money for your child's higher education is going to come from either the need-based money that will come through the financial aid documents or scholarship, which will be given by the individual institutions. Those scholarships are typically called merit aid, and it's not something that your child needs to apply separately for. It's typically they apply to that college or university, and upon acceptance, they will send in a letter out. Dear John, congratulations, you've been accepted to NJIT. We are going to give you the presidential scholarship where you will get $10,000 a year towards your tuition if you attend to our school. So again, it's not something that you apply separately for. It's typically just based on actually sending in your application to the school and those schools reviewing your academic credentials. In addition to scholarships, some schools do have honors programs. Those honors programs vary. There are some schools that you are automatically considered for the honors program upon applying. And then there are other schools that there is an additional application for consideration. Again, like I said, going back to looking at what is required at the school is very, very important, because although you might see that a particular college might be test optional, if you are trying to get into their college honors program, scores might be required. So again, it's just really important that that research is being done and that every part is being looked at when you're doing your research. Throughout senior year, your child is invited to join our Google Scholarship Classroom. Parents are free to join as well. Any scholarship that comes through the guidance office, we post not only in Naviance under the scholarship list, but we also post on the Google Classroom. I think it's important to note that it's very important that your child checks what is being posted in Naviance and Google Classroom by their particular school counselor, because I know for myself, I send out information often to my students through my Google Classroom about particular scholarships that they might qualify for. Often, I'll be honest, a lot of times they don't read them, and I get it. They're getting very bombarded with a lot of junk mail and so forth throughout the day. But it's really important that they are checking and they are keeping up with checking their emails and checking the Google Classroom for this information. In addition, I highly recommend, and it's necessary for your child to use a personal email address when they are using anything that has to do with the college process. So it should be an email address that they check regularly. It's not their school email. Their school email, for some reason, our district, because of things that get blocked and so forth, we have found that sometimes information from the colleges does not come through to their school email. So my advice is I tell my students they should use the same email, even if they create a new Gmail account for just this process. So that means they're using the same Gmail account to sign up for the SATs, for financial aid, for scholarships, for their applications. It should all be in one email address that they are checking on a regular basis. If students want to get a jump start and they want to look at different scholarships that they might be interested in applying to at this point, they can always click on this search engine. There's search engines such as FastWeb or scholarship.com that you could go in and actually put in information. So you could say what your major is, what your GPA is, what you're thinking about pursuing in college, any type of information. And those colleges will do, those scholarship engines will do a scholarship match and will provide you with scholarships that they feel that you might benefit from applying to. So again, there is a link on this form for scholarships. Again, there's different responsibilities. I will say that this process is all about the student in the driver's seat. Again, as a family, it's really important to be involved in the process with their child because, you know, it has to be a family decision. It also is really important to keep that communication open with the counselor. So even after this meeting or going into the springtime, if there's anything individually that you would like to meet with your school counselor or to discuss, or even say, you know what, John put together this college list. Do you think we're on target? Please keep that communication open. It's really important that you work together as a team to make sure that all of the deadlines and all information is getting out, because that's what's most important as we go through the next few months. So again, like I said, the process is try to keep calm. It could be very overwhelming, but take things step by step and try to have fun. You know, I think once you go and visit some schools with your son or daughter, and again, I understand everyone's busy. You don't have time to go across the country and see some schools, but even schools in the area, going to Rutgers for a day or going to the College of New Jersey or Montclair, you'll get an idea, and your child will get an idea of what might be a good fit for them. So the sooner you could start that process, the more successful you'll be when you come back in September and actually start the applications themselves.
I want to take this time to thank everyone for coming into the meeting this evening. The information that I want to thank Mrs. Furey for presenting the information. Fantastic job of presenting all the information that is necessary for all the families here this evening. If you do have any questions or concerns, I ask that you reach out to your school counselor. Your school counselor will address any questions or concerns that you may have. You can even arrange to meet with them, as Ms. Furey had stated, you know, individually, one-on-one. The information that it was presented this evening, the PowerPoint, along with a recording of the presentation, will be shared out via Naviance tomorrow, as well as with the school counselors, and they'll share it out with the students and parents as well. At this time, I don't see any additional questions. No additional questions. I think all the questions have been answered. If you do have any questions after this evening, please feel free to reach out to the school counselors. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Thank you.